McDonald's re-released some of their most iconic toys for their 40th anniversary, and I got my hands on the entire 2019 set. Let's open these up and compare them to the originals. Obviously, McDonald's toys are a staple of being a child, and throughout the years, McDonald's has made their own toys and have partnered with some pop culture icons to create some amazing sets. And in 2019, McDonald's re-released 17 of their most popular toys from the past 40 years of Happy Meals. I'm talking Furby, I'm talking Teeny Beanies, McNugget Buddies, and so many more. I hinted at opening up this set a while back when we tried to win a trip to Disney, which was like 6 months ago, and then I've actually been holding on to this set since November of 2022. So yeah, it is long overdue for an opening. But before we get into it, I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and be sure to like, subscribe, and consider becoming a member if you want to influence the content on this channel. But like I said in the intro, not only will we be opening these up, but I went and got the original version of each re-release. And again, this is the 40th anniversary line, so some of these toys are almost 40 years old. But I am very excited to get into this set after having it for almost 2 years, so let's get this started. All of these toys come in opaque packaging, but on the outside it does say what year the toy is from. And first up, we have one of my favorite lines, the hamburger changeable from the McDonald's changeables in 1987. The McDonald's changeables were like McDonald's take on the Transformers, with each being different menu items that would fold into little robots. So there were 3 different runs of the changeables, and in their 3rd run, they were dinosaurs instead of robots. And I actually did a whole short series on every single one, so make sure you go check it out. But like I said, here's our hamburger changeable, which is just a quarter pounder, and then fold him on out, and there is your robot. And I tend to say this a lot, but I wish we had more toys like these. Just so much fun to be had with such a cheapo toy. And then here's the original from 1987, and you can see that these are actually pretty different from each other. You can see the molds are different, with the original having sesame seeds and highlighting the cheese rather than in the new one, which highlights pickles. And then the plastic itself feels a little bit different too, with the newer one being like this soft touch plastic. And of course, the meat color looks a tad more appetizing on the newer one too. I do think the original looks a bit more premium though, even though it obviously has some wear with it being from the 80s. But let's put these to the side for now, though this one will eventually end up in my drawer full of literal fast food toys. Then these next few we're gonna look at together because they might be the most iconic McDonald's line. I am of course talking about the McNugget Buddies. These all first came onto the scene in 1988, and I mean, come on, they're just the cutest little bunch. The original wave had them all in different occupations, there was a Halloween series, and we even saw the resurrection of them last year in the Kerwin Frost box. Though the ones we have here, all from that initial 88 wave, we have the Cowboy McNugget, the Mail Carrier McNugget, and the Fireman McNugget. And I love that you could change their outfits out too instead of it just being the figure. And then here we have some of the originals from 1988, and it's just crazy how good a shape these guys were in. And these are a little different too, as the originals were more of a rubber, and the newer ones are more of a hard plastic, which I actually think the hard plastic makes it harder for the outfits to stay on, because the rubber is a bit more grippier. And they did actually have to make updates to the mold because of this, but this is actually the same kind of material that would later be used in the 2023 Kerwin Frost McNugget Buddy line. And then in terms of actual traits of the mold, the only real major change is changing up the fireman's axe to be a flashlight instead. I love it when the McNugget Buddies resurface, and now that I have these, I've really started to put a good dent in the old McNugget Buddies collection. Now, I actually mentioned this other one already. I don't know why they didn't put them in order. But here's the Dino Happy Meal changeable from 1990. Or at least that's what it's called here. Because back in 1990, this was known as the Happy Mealodon. And here it is with the actual one from the 90s. These ones are probably the most identical so far, with the new one just being a shinier version of the old one. These next ones have me pretty excited because I love looking at toys that include the McDonald's characters, and this is Grimace from the McDonald Land set in 1990. But is it though? Because I hunted down what is supposedly the Grimace from that line in the 90s, and this is him. Quite the size difference, obviously. I mean, I guess I understand why they did this, make it feel like you aren't being gypped, but I also feel like there are so many other Grimace figures to choose from that I don't think they needed to essentially make a whole new one. And then one more McDonald's character here. This is the Hamburglar from 1995. This is actually from the Halloween line, and they just opted to not include his costume here, but compared to the original, pretty spot on. And next up, this toy is from 1993 and is a McDonald's Hot Wheels car. This specifically being the McDonald's branded Thunderbird, and in this line there were 7 other cars, with there actually being a couple other McDonald's branded ones too. Now this one is cool and all, but when you compare it to the original version, the newer one starts to feel a little cheap. Because the newer one is obviously plastic and feels like they might have added a little weight inside, and then the older one is definitely a painted metal shell. And they do have a bit of a size difference too. Now I feel so far these are probably the ones that they cut corners with the most, though even still, a pretty sick toy regardless. Okay, finally we are moving away from the McDonald's branded toys and moving on to some movie icons, with this toy being from Space Jam. These were originally released in 1996, and this is Bugs Bunny right here, who has a wheel at the bottom, and if he rolls, he spins around. It is an interesting choice with re-releasing this one though, because if you collected the others, you could actually puzzle them together, which you can see this still has the puzzle cutouts at the bottom. And I actually wonder if we can take the old one and yeah, it does still connect. And here are the two of them side by side, and I feel like so far the older versions have had some wear that have made the newer version, well, look newer. But I think between these two, the older version definitely looks in better condition. This next one I'm sure you'll still remember even if you weren't a McDonald's kid, because here we have a Beanie Baby. I'm sure you all remember the Beanie Baby craze of the 90s, and in 1997, McDonald's partnered with Beanie Babies to release Teeny Beanies, miniature versions of the pop culture icons. And here we have Patty the Platypus, not to be confused with Perry the Platypus. And I love me a McDonald's plush, and I actually don't really have any Teeny Beanies, so here's the start to that collection. And here it is next to the 97 version. Honestly, pretty similar. On to the next. Now, I wouldn't say I've necessarily been a fan of these next ones, but I have sisters, so they were around growing up. And of course, I am talking about My Little Pony. And honestly, this kind of feels like I'm just getting a real My Little Pony doll. And these were actually released in 1998 alongside the boys' toys of Transformers Beast Wars. Remember those? And here it is next to the original, which the original's head can turn, though I don't think we are getting the same kind of movement on the new one. But overall, this is another one where the two of them look pretty identical. And you know I love talking about this next one, Furby. We've looked at some of these in the past with my 100 pounds of fast food toy haul, but this is a Furby toy from 1999. McDonald's actually went through a few waves of these ones too, and all of them being pretty different from each other, though the most recognizable ones are probably these original hard plastic ones and the plush keychains that came out in 2000. But in this set, we get one of the original hard plastic ones, and if he rolls around, his feet shuffle and his ears wiggle. And then here's the original one of this, which was pretty hard to track down, to be honest, but he does have the same movement. You can see their hair color has changed, but I don't know if that's just the specific one I picked up. And then next up, we actually made a whole video about this set if you want to go check that out. But this is the Red Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie line in 1995. Again, another interesting choice for a re-release, as one, they only picked the figure when this is supposed to also come with a Zord to stand in, and two, this wasn't really technically a Happy Meal toy. This toy was sold separately from your Happy Meal, and these were the toys that were in your Happy Meal. I mean, I get it. These toys definitely overshadowed the others, but when you had to pay extra for a toy somewhere, no matter how much it cost, I consider that to be a premium toy. And this newer one actually doesn't even have the same movement as the older one does. Like, this arm and leg don't even move. And here's the original, and you can see that all of the limbs have movement. But of course, have to let them duke it out. This next one is actually the most recent toy released in this line, having been released in 2013, but still has gotten its fair share of fast food toys through the years, with this one being Hello Kitty. These were all figures that featured Hello Kitty doing different activities, with the one reading a book being the one featured here. And if you press this button on the back, it looks like she's reading really fast. And if you compare her to the 2013 version, this one just has less dramatic movements compared to the newer one. Now, these next ones seem to be a hit everywhere. These are the Tamagotchi McDonald's keychains. This one being the dark blue one, and if you press on the screen, it lights up. And has a light coming out the bottom, and I really couldn't tell if it's supposed to be an image or not. But we have the original one from 1998, though unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore. But you can see that they swapped out the actual metal chain for a plastic ring. And these last couple we'll look at are Disney themed. This first one being Mickey Mouse, specifically Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, which was released in 2002 with the insane 100 Years of Magic campaign that had 100 different Disney characters you could have gotten. I can't believe McDonald's does campaigns with like dozens of toys. That is just so crazy. And just like with the rest, I started comparing this one to the other one I have, and I kept thinking, wow, these look identical. Even the older one just looks so good. Well, I hope you know where I'm going with this, because turns out when I bought the 2002 version, it was just the 2019 version that someone listed as the 2002 version. Boo! Still a great figure though. And while we just looked at a line that had 100 toys, this one actually has that one beat by one. Yep, these are the 101 Dalmatian toys released in 1996 to promote the live-action movie. And the one I have right here is the one right down here on the original poster, which is a cute little car toy. And here it is next to the original. Again, some of the few that we looked at today that didn't change at all. And I actually have this entire set as a collector's set, which I will definitely feature in a future video. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. But that does it for the 40th anniversary toys from McDonald's. I love it when McDonald's recognizes those popular toys from the past, and I hope today I was able to take you down memory lane just a little bit. And I do wonder what will be in that 50th anniversary line. Anyway, let me know if you had any of these toys, new or old, in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.